This is the Norris Group's Real Estate Investor Radio Show, the award-winning show dedicated to thought leaders shaping the real estate industry and local experts revealing their insider tips to succeed in an ever-changing real estate market. Hosted by author, investor, and hard money lender, Bruce Norris.
Hey everybody, it's Aaron Norris with the Norris Group. We are back again with the team at ADU Resource Center talking about everything ADUs. You won't want to miss this one. Check out aduresourcecenter.com if you want more information, but let's get to the conversation. I didn't prep you guys with this question, but I've been teaching a lot about SB9. Right now, it's only available for homeowners. Are you starting to get a lot more questions about people wanting to build a duplex and use your ADU designs for that and then sell it separately?
Yeah, the SB9, it's starting to come in. People are starting to find out about it. I feel like a lot of people are coming in late to the game for it, so we're getting very few kind of trickling in slowly. But look how long ADUs took. About 3-4 years now since it's actively been progressing, and people are barely starting to hit the ground running now with it. So I think we're getting a lot of them. One of the common things that we're getting asked is how many ADUs can I pair with those SB9 units that we're building? So it's coming in and out quite often. It's just we haven't had one yet to get started officially on. So
interesting. It's going to be wild to see how this works out. That's for sure. I know Christy, who was on the show about a month ago, she's been working on a lot split in LA that's taken well over a year. It's just taken so long, and why I like ADU law, it's very specific, it's known. You're not going to run into the same problems because who knows how long anything under SB9, how long it will take.
Yeah, that's the thing that we've noticed actually. I don't know if originally when ADUs came out, people were so unsure. Cities were saying just submit it, we'll have a committee review, we'll discuss what corrections you need to make for your property, and then we'll move forward. And now, 3-4 years later, finally some cities are figuring it out how to progress. Some cities are still far behind, and they're in the Stone Age with their ADU progression. But same thing with now SB9, like LA, the other day we called, we had some questions to ask them. They said, oh, we're kind of uncertain. These are the steps that are required for you to go about it. But once you submit, this is going to be the process. We're going to have a committee review, do the corrections, and go about it. So everyone's kind of scared to officially dedicate to something and move forward. But I feel like once it does, it's going to be a really, really great thing for the ADU business and for just real estate in general.
Yeah, we almost started a SB9 project with Christy, actually. Ava was out to one of the properties, but she changed her mind. She decided not to move forward with SB9.
Yeah, because she'd have to live there. I think we were talking about that. She brought everybody together and trying to see how it would work. Just because so much of your business is owner occupant, how many are talking about triplexizing and adding a JADU to the site at the same time?
Do you want to go about it?
Not as many as I would think. Majority of our projects are just an ADU. I would say 85-90% of them are just an ADU. Very few of them are adding a JADU to the units for some reason. I mean, it needs to be attached. Mm-hmm. It needs to be part of the main dwelling. A lot of times it has to be. It's an attached garage that turns into a JADU. But yeah, not that many, surprisingly.
I think what's scaring them is the covenant requirement. To be locked into one of those 3 units. The beauty of having it just be a detached ADU and not being locked in with that covenant agreement, it gives people the freedom to say, hey, okay, I'm going to go buy another property and do the same thing on it. But once they lock in with that junior ADU and they're set to live in one of the 3, it puts a little bit of resistance into them. So,
Aaron, can I ask really quick?
Sure.
Has there been any niches around schools, hey, I'm gonna build some ADUs and put some college students in them, or closer to the beach, I'm gonna build an ADU and do a vacation rental, stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people are doing it. We've had people that are pretty much doing it near CSUN area, because you're getting a lot of it, because dorms are so expensive. You're probably paying about maybe $5,000-$6,000 with your tuition to get a dorm room, versus you putting it out for a little ADU. So it makes sense for people to do it because people are going to rent it out, and we're seeing it a lot around colleges, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I was thinking about the short-term rental laws. if you are an owner occupant and you live on the property, it's not so stringent, is it?
No, honestly, I've had clients say that they've been using Airbnb for their units. I tried finding some specifics on it. I think like you said, it's basically a little bit more lenient whenever they're home or occupied.
Yeah, for real estate investors, explore the 30+ day or the co-living space. But let's get back to investors a little bit. You guys also do, is it multifamily that you're doing ADUs on?
Yeah, yeah, we get a lot of multifamily people who are interested to have all this little backyard space in the area, and they want to build detached ADUs, or they want to convert existing carports on at the base of the apartment. So different things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Los Angeles wants you to convert the underparking because that's not considered structurally sound during an earthquake. So, is there any money left for that? I know at one point the city was helping people with, I don't know if it was loans or grants, but they were helping old building owners with the underparking take care of that.
I haven't dealt with that yet. I'm not sure as far as what kind of funding there is for it, but yeah, a lot of people are coming in and interested in converting those spaces for sure.
Is there any specific size that's working out really well, like duplex, triplex, fourplex?
Honestly, we actually did one right now. It had about 9 or 10 units in that property. And basically the owner had an 11th unit that at the time he tried converting into a legal unit, but I guess because of density purposes, it didn't allow for that extra unit to be there. But now years down the line, ADUs come into play, and he basically converted that unit now into an ADU. So we're doing it on scales of like 10 units. We've done it on duplexes. We've done it on triplexes. It varies, but more often than not, it's usually duplex lots because I think not a lot of people know about it, like you said earlier. Yeah.
I love that. So duplex lot, you can have a duplex and 2 ADUs. That's a lot of extra units.
Yeah.
A lot of new units. I like that. Rents. What are some of these 800 square foot LA ADUs going for?
You know, they're not at the, because these are for the homeowners, we don't rent them out ourselves. I don't know exactly what they rent for. I was recently looking for studio size, 400 or 500 square foot ADUs. They were going for 1,800 to 2,000. And I was looking for 1 bedrooms, and they were closer to 2,500. I was just looking on Zillow actually last week, just scanning over some rental properties. One of my friends wants to have a secondary home in he lives in Las Vegas. He wants to come here with his family once in a while. He's like, can you find me an ADU just to live in when I'm there, and I can maybe rent it out when I'm not. So that's why I was looking around for studios and 1 bedrooms, and there studios. 400 or 500 square feet around 2,000, and then maybe the 1 bedrooms are going for around 2,500, believe it or not. I mean, a lot of times it's a detached unit. They don't have neighbors that are attached with an attached wall. It's a brand new house a lot of times with brand new appliances. So they like that.
Is this happening? Can you tell in certain areas? Like, is it first-time buyers that are doing these? Are these in Beverly Hills, or is it a mix? Is it all over the place? There's no rhyme or reason.
I think it's a mix. Yeah, I kind of got your question. Another thing that we're actually seeing is people that are taking over houses from their parents when they pass, and they got it passed on to them. They can't afford the rent, so the alternative solution is basically developing another form of income for that property to basically help pay that rent and cover the costs for whatever they got to do day to day. And then honestly, it's just a mixture of things. First-time home buyers are getting into it. It's just with the construction cost of things now, I feel like it's something that can possibly scare new home buyers, especially because with today's rates, they're paying that much already for a house, and then on top of it all, they're getting a construction loan done. But there is a variation, I think.
Yeah, I would say majority of our clients have lived in the house for a little while, and they have some equity that they can use to pull out to build the ADU.
What do you mean everybody got 20% equity just for breathing last year? It went up a lot. What are they costing these days? Since you're mostly doing stick built or conversions of a garage, let's go through some of the costs.
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah, the costs have changed since we started. So right now, the range is say between 250 to 300 a square foot for a detached ADU. And that's kind of the range. There's going to be variables that primarily are the finishes inside, because the structure is going to be pretty much the same. The quality is always, the top-notch stick build construction. But the interior, that's where the cost can go up or down depending on the selection of finishes, the flooring, the cabinets, the countertops, the fixtures, whether it's got vaulted ceilings or high ceilings. A few of those different issues will affect the cost.
It also depends on the size of the unit. Like we have a 280 square foot studio that we just got approved in Glendale.
Mhm.
And we're coming in at 350 or 300, maybe a little more even per square foot, but it's because it's such a small unit. It still needs the trenching, it still needs a kitchen, it still needs a bathroom. So all the expensive components are still part of this small little unit. So that brings the cost up per square foot at least. So
That's why they're so expensive. You're cramming the most expensive square footage in a really small space.
right.
So appraisers, that's why we were angry at first at appraisers. They were trying to look at the primary and they're like, okay, well, the ADU in this in total, there's 3,000 square feet. Let's give it an average square footage. And you don't want that because the ADU square footage is by far a lot more expensive. So interesting. And what we learned with talking about the loan conversation is that if maybe you guys can share a little bit more on this. She said that if you're able to show them the cost of the ADU, it's not difficult to just give them the budget and they're giving you the value of what it costs to build.
That's kind of what we're seeing, yes.
Okay.
A lot of times, whatever is cost is pretty much what they get. It's not the case every time, but a lot of times that's what's starting to happen. That's what we're seeing.
So 200,000 to 240K for like an 800 square foot. I don't know anywhere in California where you can buy something for an 800 square foot house for 200 grand, to be honest with you. I think
Can't
this,
even find a condo for that price.
yeah, this
Yeah.
law is very special and very unique in that what it's allowed to do. And I get a chance to talk to electeds very often. I'm going to go down and meet with the guy who wrote AB 1771 in about a week, and I want to show him this data. I'm like, you're looking at it wrong. You need the private sector. You want ADUs. Just let us do our job. But it's been very interesting to see that owner occupants are leading the charge. Now, I think earlier on, we were all excited with companies like Boxable and 3D printing and technology meeting the moment. And I've heard very mixed reviews. They're just really long timelines for manufactured housing. 3D printed technology is just still not there yet. You've got companies like Boxable. But at the end of the day, every time I talk to somebody, interview somebody about this, we're still talking about stick build. Is that what you guys are seeing right now?
Yes, when I started this business, I called it ADU Resource Center, and I wanted to have a prefab company to partner up with so I could have all the services, but I haven't been able to find the right company to work with. A lot of times, their cost and the cost to build a prefab unit a lot of times ends up costing more than stick build, and a lot of these factories are backed up, so it takes a year, sometimes 2 years to actually get a unit delivered. So we haven't been able to partner up with the right company yet. So that's why we're sticking to stick build for now until that happens.
Well, yeah, you can't wait for 2 years for, especially if they haven't been around long enough to test the quality. You stick build to stick build. It's just a little bit easier to understand, I guess, too. And to match the primary. Are you doing that quite a bit, matching the primary to the ADU so it looks really good together?
Yeah, that's a common thing that's coming up. Some cities don't really push it, but cities like Glendale require it 100% of the way. They won't take anything else. But yeah, I think it's one of the more common things, and one of the issues that I don't know if that they've added it in or later, but the thing with prefab, it's made so that it's kind of like a process where they speed up things because it's already kind of cookie cutter pieces, I would assume. So one thing that I could see being an issue is it's less customizable, it's less personal for something that you're going to be placing in your backyard. Not to be biased, obviously, because we do stick build with our company, but that's the personal thing I would see if I was a homeowner and I was going to place an ADU in my backyard. I would want it stick built because it's more personalizable, and I could pick and choose every component in that versus being limited to my choices of something that's prefabricated.
Yeah, you're right. It's built in a factory. It doesn't mean necessarily that the quality has to suffer, but they are built for scale. So there's a lot less for now. And with 3D printed, I think Rancho Mirage Mighty Building is building their first community in Rancho Mirage, and you've got Icon, which is building their first community in Austin. I think it's with Lennar. And I like the technology. The problem is that, well, Shara, I was just thinking about that. You and I were in Rotunda West when we got to see them put up walls in one day.
Right.
I see that every day. It doesn't need to come out of a really expensive printer, but it's not printing the bathroom or the kitchen, like all that finished work. We're still having to deal with all the other stuff that has to go into a house. So we're just not there yet.
Absolutely. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit on a lot of people, when they think of prefabricated unit, they think it's a super fast process. They come on site, a couple of weeks later they're out, and that's it. But that's really not the case.
Yeah, and actually in Southern California, not every city allows the manufactured homes. So, we have that conversation, because I have had that question asked, and of course we check with the city, and there's some cities that don't allow it. You have to do a stick build.
Oh,
But,
I didn't know that they were even allowed to do that when it comes to ADUs anyway.
Is this for the craning process, Ben? Is that the reason?
No, it's from the regional planning. It's kind of like, I used to have a Class A motorhome, and I used to go to RV parks, and there's some RV parks that don't allow a motorhome in there if it's over 10 years old. Come to find out. Yeah, it's interesting. But so I think it's kind of the same concept. There's some cities that have city ordinances that supersede any county or state ordinances. In fact, there's one project that we started in Santa Clarita. ADUs you were supposed to have up to 1,200 square feet in the size of an ADU. And in this particular neighborhood in Santa Clarita, they limited it to 1,000 square feet. That's the largest they could have. So that's what we're doing. They were a little disappointed, but we designed a really nice unit for them.
Be interesting to see how they did that, because in order to do that, they would have to prove safety issue, utility issues, something would have had to be going on, unless somebody's going to challenge them at the state level. But interesting, I didn't know that. Goes to show you just can't assume that you're going to be able to build whatever you want. That's important.
So my experience with manufactured homes, though, to touch on that a little bit, is because I have installed those. There's a few elements that I think aren't considered when people are looking at those, because the attractive part is the cost of the manufactured house. The pieces of the puzzle to get it from the factory to your house, there's more pieces to that. So in fact, the one I did after I installed it, the customer says to me, okay, so now this is installed. I didn't really like it the way I saw it, so I want to remodel my bathroom. So the point is, one of the big differences between an ADU and a manufactured home is our ADUs, like I said before, they're custom built, custom designed. You can make them ADU compliant, which is what we do a lot of. The walk-in showers, the bigger bathrooms, and you can make the kitchen bigger, the bedroom smaller, because you spend less time there. So we customize it to the client's needs, which is a real advantage over a manufactured home that you don't get. And then, of course, the added cost of manufactured homes is going to be the transportation.
Especially now with gas prices.
Exactly. But for me, the worst part about that process is, they put together everything at the factory, and then they put it on the trailer, and it goes bouncing down the freeway for 4 hours. So you don't know what gets loose or what happens. And
is this commentary on LA's awesome roads?
Oh yeah, don't get me started on that. I drive a 4-wheel drive truck, and there's some roads on the 118 over through Simi Valley. You get a massage as you're driving because you're bouncing so
hard. I have heard that this is actually an issue with manufactured homes, and I'm like, oh, in California, that is definitely going to be an issue. Oh man. Well, that's, you know, it's important here. People need to understand that just because you can doesn't mean you should, and just because you think you can doesn't mean you're ever going to be able to. So, oh,
I mean,
I'm
they
just,
do put it all together, you know, so that those are the other costs. In a lot of cases, they have to hire a crane to hoist it up and over. And then there's the foundation that's not part of the, you know, initial cost of the house that has to get done separately, separate permits. And then, you know, the house comes in two pieces most of the time, then you have to marry it together like they say. And I know I've done, so, you know, you have to patch the floor, the walls, the roof and repaint. And there's a few extra things that has to get done. I mean, when it's all said and done, it looks good. But the price, when you add all those costs together, it actually, I've had some people tell me it actually costs more than the bids that we're providing for a stick build ADU.
wow. What do you mean? I can go on Amazon and I see these little cabins that don't have a bathroom or a kitchen. They're only $20,000.
Go to the harbor, just get a container.
Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Are you getting questions about that? Things like containers and weird structures?
I've had one customer ask me about those. I didn't even know they existed until he posed the question, and I did some research. Of course, the downside to that is the county where he wanted it was not going to allow it. He couldn't.
Yeah, they don't. With all the pesticides and stuff that typically are associated with them, it's not. Yeah, it's not. Trying to think of. I had something really interesting in my head that I was going to ask, and now it escaped me. Oh well.
Oh, I can rescue you with my tree question.
Do it.
Shara, have you ever been to a backyard and seen like a really big tree and say, you know, I could put an ADU in that?
Tree houses are the #1 experience that's expanding for short-term rentals. So I see where
Tree
you're going.
ADU, a tree to you.
Yeah,
A
well,
tree to you.
all can get it approved. Why not?
Oh no! Don't give me ideas. This is stuff my brain works on at night.
Trees, trees are a little bit of a pain to deal with, especially whenever you start seeing oak trees coming into the play. And then
You specifically said that. Why oak trees?
it's a more common one we're seeing here in LA actually. But the one thing I was actually talking to my arborist, and he said that he's seen it go both ways, but it more often leads towards the homeowner, where he's saying you as a homeowner, you have homeowner rights, and one of the homeowner rights is to be able to place an ADU would fall into that category. You could technically argue that, like, hey, me as a homeowner, me owning this property, I have the ability to place this ADU in the back, but that tree is really restricting me from doing it. So he said that he's seen them make exceptions with that, and that be the argument that gets them to make that leap over to allowing you to remove that oak tree. But then again, you have to now come back and plant 2 or 3 new additional trees, given the fact that it's obviously cheaper than getting a penalty for removing an oak tree illegally. But
You got that
something.
done in Glendale once, right? You were able
Yeah.
to remove an oak tree.
Oak trees are like turtles in Florida, man.
Right.
Yeah, it's
They're protected. They're protected in Southern California. The oak trees are, especially in LA County.
I'm just thinking you could take the wood from the oak tree to build the ADU. What a great story.
It's still there.
there you go. No, but yeah, we did one in Glendale. It had like 3 or 4 oak trees on that property, and it was just restricting the homeowner from completely even getting an ADU at anywhere on this property. Now, given if you have an empty side of your lot that it's a clear and open area that you could build in, they're going to be like, no, go and build it over there. But if it's for aesthetic purposes, obviously they don't remove it. But when it comes to a point of where it's restricting you as a homeowner to build it on your property, it's something that we're seeing quite often, that you're allowed to kind of counter the city and say, hey, I'm going to remove it, but I'm going to plant you new oak trees elsewhere.
Aaron, as they developed South Corona and, you know, brought in everything at Dos Lagos and all that, as they expanded the roads there, they had to make the median wide enough to keep a ton of those oak trees.
Wow. Who knew? Let's end on neighbors. Like, you know, this bill has been around a long time now. I am still surprised when electeds will be like, what do I tell, you know, my constituents about that you don't have control and you haven't had for several years? Are you having to deal with neighbors who are upset about these in the backyard?
I haven't personally. The thing is, it's because like we were going back and forth talking about it. It's certain cities restricted, and I feel like those are the areas that you usually would let me go back, that they restrict you going up to 2 stories. For example, like Glendale, everything is restricted down to 1 story.
Mhm.
So that area kind of keeps its consistency. So not a lot of people are complaining because usually it's either a garage then converting or it's within the height of the garage that would have been detached to the backyard. And then a lot of other cities, I mean, you're within your rights as a homeowner. So a lot of people, even if they do complain, they really can't do much about it as far as you building it. One other thing that we're seeing is people are realizing, a lot of people, actually, I've seen it on 2 projects that we've done, that their neighboring properties have built onto their property. So this becomes an area where it's like, hey, you know, I'll let you stay on my property if you just keep your mouth shut about me building my ADU 2 stories high and building over your view. So another one was when we saw a client who had the neighbor's property built 4 feet into theirs, so along the whole depth of the property. So it kind of opens doors for them to readjust all this. So going with neighbors, it's interesting. There's different cards that have been played, but realistically going back to it, there's not much they could do unless you're within some sort of like gated community or something.
You know, we get a lot of complaints on our ads. You know how we post ads on Google and Facebook and Instagram. We see a lot of ugly comments about it, but actual complaints, no, we haven't had many.
Yeah.
Actually, the other side of that coin, which is good, is the ones that like to keep up with the Joneses. Oh, so you're putting one up? Well, I'm going to do one too.
We're converting everybody to the dark side. Everybody's becoming a landlord. Stop it. They're going to become more real estate friendly. I love it.
It's almost not to the point where if you're not doing it, it's almost weird to not. Like you're the weird, you're the oddball out. That's not the
Everybody's doing it. Yeah.
Right.
Let's end with major mistakes you've seen, funny stories, just where you shake your head and go, why? Because I don't know. I need a laugh.
I mean, a lot of times they'll go with some. A lot of times people are just, I guess, concerned with the price of going with a professional company that knows what they're doing. And there's a lot of components that fall into it. Like we're dealing with structural, architectural, Title 24. We're doing the LID plans where it's applicable. And then we're working with contractors hand in hand from the get-go to make sure we're delivering a client like an A+ grade ADU. But a lot of times people will just go with some random Joe that's charging them like $2,000 for a full set of plans. And they're like, oh yeah, this guy's charging me like a third of your price. Why should I go with you in that case? And then they end up calling us and paying double the fees, and then paying whatever they paid that guy, and then something on top of it for us to go through and fix it. And it just becomes a whole mess that we got to deal with. So it's just like dealing with clients like that pretty much, or dealing with clients that tried to do the conversion illegally and they did something so far that it's just a pain to bring back from. So
Also under the categories, I know a guy.
yeah, I know a guy.
I watch HEV every day, so I'm pretty much
Yeah.
a professional. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Shara, any fun stories?
Fun stories. I can't think of any. You know, I'm not on the field so much. It's these guys that are mainly talking to the homeowners. What about
That's
you,
good.
Ben? You got any stories?
Yeah, no, Avo's right. I mean, that's probably the most common thing is that, people, the best ones are people, oh, I can do this myself. I found a draftsman, and they try it. They get a substandard set of drawings, they take it to the city, and after 3 months of frustration, then they come to us and here, can you get this done for us?
Oh,
Yeah,
can
that's
you use these plans? No, we cannot.
that's very common.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate your time. This has been, I think, a really important conversation. If they want to find out more information about ADU Resource Center, where should they go?
Yeah, they can email us at info@aduresourcecenter.com. Our website is aduresourcecenter.com, and I'll just give you my phone number, 818-813-1619. They can call me directly.
All right, we'll make sure to post it up on the show notes and link to all the stuff. And I really appreciate your time, guys.
Hey, thank you so
All right,
much.
it's good
Aaron.
meeting you.
Thank you, Joey.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Easy peasy. Told you.
For more information on hard money loans and upcoming events with the Norris Group, check out thenorrisgroup.com. For information on passive investing with trust deeds, visit tngtrustdeeds.com.
The Norris Group originates and services loans in California and Florida under California DRE License 2199911, Florida Mortgage Lender License 1577, and NMLS License 1623669. For more information on hard money lending, go to thenorrisgroup.com and click the Hard Money tab.